Welcome, dirty peasants, to episode 26 of the Wartwood Gazette podcast. This week we'll be covering Amphibia Season 1, Season 3, Episode 2, Hop Till You Drop, and Turning Point. I'm your host, Thembaticon, and joining me today we have Nick,
Hey guys.
Pixels,
Hello, everyone.
King of the Uzbeks,
Hello.
Pickle.
Hey.
Alright, thanks guys for coming on tonight. So, we had an interesting batch of episodes, to say the least. So we also got a lot of we got like a promo like a few hours ago that like showed off some new episodes. We got a couple of we got basically confirmation of the remaining the latter half of this of season 3A episode titles. I guess I can quickly go over them now, but I guess we'll probably discuss that later. So those episode titles were just pulling it up. Pixels, do you have that on you?
I thought you had them already.
No, let me discuss if I can grab
You
them.
said you found them up already.
Wait, I have them.
You
I
have
have
them? All
Yeah.
right.
All right. So November
Oh,
6th.
Oh, go ahead, Uzbeks, yeah.
November 6th is Mr. X / Sprig's birthday. November 13th is Spider Sprig / Olivia and Yunnan. Yeah. November 20th is Hollywood Hop Pop / If You Give a Frog a Cookie. And November 27th is Froggy Little Christmas.
And unless we're getting an episode in December, then this might be the mid-season finale.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see, and it's possible the mid-season finale gets aired with season 3B for reasons.
Perhaps, yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows
We'll
what
see.
to
Hopefully the clue clarifies.
do? Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing it's just in December.
Yeah.
I guess we'll probably have to wait just like
Tad bit longer. See what happens.
hopefully it's just that's the problem with like episodes at like the beginning of a month, like
I know.
just
I know.
And we'll see when we get episode descriptions, which will help us.
yeah.
Because, like, if, I don't know, the summary for Froggy Little Christmas is Anne teaches the planters the meaning of the holiday or something, versus as the holidays loom, Andreas makes his move, that'll give us a good sense of.
Imagine you're right. That's like exactly what it says.
Yep.
So I guess we can start off with Hop Till You Drop. I actually we also got a promo, but I think we can discuss that near the end for predictions because that
Yeah,
helps.
I don't.
Help fill in the
Nothing
blanks.
too heavy.
Yeah, it probably confirmed everything we already
Mhm.
suspected. So I guess we'll just go into. I'm restraining myself from saying hopping into an episode because like half the time these episodes like have the word hop in the title. We'll just get right into Hop Till You Drop, which was directed by Kyler Spears and Roxanne Cole, written by Gloria Shen, storyboards by Danny Ducker and Alicia Arosha, and yeah, that's all the credits. So the episode starts off with it starts out the planner, the Boon Choi home, and Anne opens the door, and right when she's about to like walk outside, like the planners immediately rush to her and like start asking her like where she's heading, and then eventually they want to come along with her outside to get like to the mailbox. So the minute they get out, So the minute they get out, they immediately like spread off in different directions. Like Hop Hop is getting like swindled by some by some salesman. Polly's getting into like a fight with some like other kids, and then Sprig tries to jump into a wood chipper. So Anne immediately like grabs them all and just drags Hop Hop especially like back into the house. And while she's in the kitchen, she has like a talk with her parents about like how it's like getting a bit difficult to looking after all these guys. And then eventually they give the advice of slowly easing them into the world, which Anne seems like she's about to consider that, but then she notices like the same problems happening inside. So instead of a slow and steady approach, Anne decides to do a trial by fire, which is she'll give them all a task to work on their problems at the mall, and then if they don't accomplish their mission, then they can never leave the house again. So for Sprig, he has to go through like an art gallery without touching anything. Polly has to go to this Build-A-Bear workshop parody and like just build a stuffed animal without fighting anyone. And then Hop Up has to go through through like some kind of like vendor stand part of the mall where like you can't take any free samples or free stuff. So the episode's pretty much like all the planners like struggling to complete their tasks. And then while they're doing that, someone Anne knows from school, Gabby, like recognizes her and then starts like talking nonstop to Anne. And then while Anne's distracted, that's when Sprig and Hop Hop, the moment they realize Anne's not watching them, they immediately like avoid their challenges. Like Sprig starts touching everything, or specifically that like one giant art piece in the center. Hop Hop dives into a fountain to collect copper, just collect some coins. And then Polly gets into like
just squared up to the babies, just
yeah, like these babies like rip apart her stuffed animal, and then Polly starts beating the shit out of all these kids.
Polly did not care in this episode. I love it.
SMP approved child abuse.
It's
Is
fine,
it though?
Pickle. They're all kids. It's okay. But so then eventually Anne realizes what's going on. Like Sprig's like the art piece that Sprig's on like falls apart and starts wrecking everything, and then Anne has to pretty much like save all of them and then figure out a way to get them like gets the security guard off Hop Hop with like using those Karen moms that were at the workshop just to like distract security, and then eventually they all like run out the back. So the planners are upset that they weren't able to complete their tasks, but then Anne kind of shoulders the blame for throwing them basically into the deep end too quickly. But then, because she thought the reason she did that's because she thought it worked well in Amphibia, so maybe it would work well here. But the planners laugh that off, and they remind Anne about the times that she was basically like in constant danger, and the planners had to keep an eye out for her then. And then now Anne has to do the same thing for them, basically. And then Anne like kind of realizes that like she didn't just adapt to Amphibia very easily, and like she has to like be a little bit understanding. And then they have like the planner and hug, and then the episode ends with them needing to get Hop Hop to a shower because he was burning everywhere.
Yeah, he was green, so
Yeah, so that was Hop Till You Drop, and like the shortest way I could summarize this episode was that it felt like a solid season 1 episode with like the history that we have now. And I mean that like as a compliment. I really enjoyed this episode, and I like seeing I guess Anne pretty much like states all the flaws that the Planner family has, and then trying to work on it. I thought it was like a nice like attempt at self improvement, even though it all kind of failed and happened a bit too quickly. And yeah, like the animation was nice. Like the comedy was like all the jokes were like hilarious,
Great.
and even the expressions too. Like all of Anne's like expressions were like gross and hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the facial expressions reminded me so much of Craig of the Creek. Like
Yeah.
one of the expressions, I forgot which one it was, but
Yeah, no, they were really on point of Anne this episode. I just laughed at every single funny face she made. It really added on, it really just added on an enjoyment factor, I guess. It was just really fun.
I guess Uzbeks. What were your thoughts on this segment?
I really liked it. I mean, no, it wasn't the deepest lore plot, but I thought it was very well constructed. You established early on what the Planner's problems were. You established early on the two sort of ways Anne could go about it. She made her choice, and we followed it through. I really liked the final scene as Anne sort of realizes, like, just saying I'm taking responsibility for you isn't enough. And then how it ties in with how she was in Amphibia to how she is here. When I say here, I mean Los Angeles.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. As she is on Earth compared to how the planners helped her there.
All right, thank you, Uzbeks. Pickle, what were your thoughts on this episode?
I liked it. Like people have already said, it's kind of like definitely feels like one of those season 1 episodes where it's self-contained but not in a bad way. It's just like chill, funny to watch, not super like intense or anything, just, funny and enjoyable. I gotta say, I can relate very much to Sprig with all those textures. You just gotta touch things sometimes. There was one other thing I was gonna say. I'm kind of forgetting it now. Oh, I don't know. I already asked, and none of you knew what the reference was with right after the like weird statue thing got destroyed by Sprig. And the lady in the background was like, "I can't tell the difference," and then she did some like weird bada bing thing.
yeah, I don't know what that was about.
Yeah, if any of the audience members knew, they can like type it in the comments section on YouTube.
Like, I know that's a saying, but like, it felt so like weird.
Yeah,
It
we
was
guys-
right at
we
the
was talking about
camera.
that
Like
gag
that
at
was
the
a
end,
basically a fourth wall.
That too, she looked
Yeah,
at the camera.
I did not understand anything about that moment.
I was
It
like,
was just so
okay.
bewildering. I didn't know if I was supposed to laugh or just go like, okay, like I didn't know what to do there.
I laughed in confusion. Like, what?
It was just I don't know. I'm guessing like maybe it's a crew member who like it's one
That's
of
what
those
I
type
was.
of things.
That's what I was thinking.
So I'm thinking like season 3 is going to give them a chance, right, to like self-insert themselves for small gags or something here or there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so I guess like that's
Yeah,
one of them.
Gloria
But
Shannon.
like I don't know. Oh, you trying to guess who it was?
Yeah, was that Gloria Shen? Because like,
Honestly, I wouldn't know. I don't know. I don't know what these people look like.
because I remember the Kermit the Frog interview, and like she looked kind of similar to that, and she also wrote this episode.
Okay.
Maybe.
Ooh. Okay. Actually, no, that's not a bad point. Here, let me.
It
We'll
could be.
see.
Yeah, I feel like Matt will like eventually like put a tweet about this.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of people have the same.
Same question.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can ask that in the Q&A tomorrow. I mean, actually, I'm not even sure how that's gonna work.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just looking too deep into it.
I think
Yeah.
But
When you
Nick, what were
cons-
your thoughts on the
Oh, sorry.
segment?
But mine?
Nick.
Oh, mine. Honestly, just solid throughout. I feel like this is just a really well written episode. I feel like they absolutely paid attention to what they set up and like what they set up straight from the beginning of the episode, and what they're trying to set later down the season. Like everything just came together right at the end, and I really enjoyed that. A lot of funny gags. Laughed at every single one of them. I got confused by that one art piece gag, but we already went over that. Just really solid character moments, I feel like, for Anne here. Like, I really enjoyed the fact that while this is still like a very laid-back comedic episode, we still get that chance to see how much Anne has improved since season one. Like, just the fact that she can't even vibe with like the same old teenage drama that she used to love back then. Like, that just shows me that she's super different. There's no more episodes that are just fueled by her trying to like push her own stereotypes into it. Like it's just not there anymore. And so I don't know. It was just really nice to see this level of maturity from Anne. So beyond that, I think that's hands down my favorite part of the episode. Just Anne's conversation with Gabby. I mean, well, it's more of a one-sided conversation, but you guys would get what I mean. But I really did enjoy the moments at the beginning and ending of this episode where.
She said that she spent 5 years.
5 months.
5 months. Why I say years? 5 months in a farm in Alaska. Or something like.
I don't think Anne has come up with her cover story yet.
You think that's gonna come back to bite her? Like
Yeah.
that's
Probably.
gonna be an actual thing?
Yeah.
Well, because Gabby seems like the type to go into gossip, right? So I mean, I could see her spreading it all around. So she's getting an actual like she can say. I mean, now she has an actual answer from one of the people who've gone missing. So that's I could see that just biting Anne back in the ass later on.
Wonder if people are gonna start asking about Sasha and Marcy to her.
I think it's coming, right?
It's gonna come soon.
Sasha's at least a lot more. Sasha's at least a lot more like popular compared to Anne. So I mean, I'm thinking like there are going to be more people wondering where she's at.
Yeah,
it's coming. It's just going to be unexpected. I feel like it's going to come out of nowhere. We're not going to be ready.
I know this will probably never be a focus of canon, but the image of like Sasha finally coming home and all her like weird cheerleading friends are like, "Oh my God, Sasha!" and she's just this like ripped war criminal is really funny to me.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I also like that really. Actually, Pixels, what were your thoughts on this episode?
It was a very fun episode. It very season one and really gave me season one vibes in a very good way. The comedic bits in this episode was really fun. What Spriggan was getting chopped. I don't know what made Sprig think going into a wood chipper was a good idea. Polly trying to fight people this whole episode too. I was like, Polly, you go, you do you, and Hop Pop and with his scams and stuff. It was good, and what Anne was doing was testing the planners like it's like a bait and switch. It's like a switch because I think it was in the episode after from Anne and Beast. That was the first episode.
Best Franz?
Best Franz. It was like that, but in reverse. It's Anne doing this now, and not the planners. And they're in Anne's world.
Oh, like because Sprig wanted to go out and then
Right. Sprig
I guess
one.
it was the same case for like New Normal as well, except it was from like Mr. and Mrs. Boom Choi.
Yeah.
Something tells me that this season's gonna have a lot of, oh wow, this is just like back in Amphibia season 1, except in reverse sort of stuff going on.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I can really see that.
I'm okay with that, by the way. I'm really okay with that.
I like that little detail of like when Anne grabbed Polly at the beginning, she put Polly like in her hair. And then like Polly's just like looking out from like the bushes, like giving like the stink eye to those other kids.
The skaters.
But I also like that really quick scene we had with Mr. and Mrs. Boon Choi. Like, it's nice to see that they're not just going to
be a one-time thing.
Well, we knew they were never going to be a one-time thing, but I know the the episode descriptions, like the way they listed the guest stars, they had On Brawley and Brian, I forgot his last name, Sudalith?
Brian Suna something. I'm not even sure myself.
Like they listed their names in like the new normal, and then I think Temple Frogs as like the guest, like as the guest actors. But like it's nice to see that they still have appearances and lines like in these segments as well.
Yeah, there's still the presence, and I think. I mean, it is really nice that they also helped with the themes of the episode. Just the idea that like Anne, Anne has to let the planters get eased into being on Earth and not just throw them in. And I mean, I just really like the fact that it's also just a reminder of how far Anne's come herself how far she's come to herself and a relationship with the planters. It was just a nice episode overall. I feel like it's gonna be. I think it's. I mean, we only have like 2 episodes. We only have like 3 segments of season 3 now, but it's. I think it's my favorite out of 3 so far. I really liked it.
Yeah, it balances the sort of having 3 plot lines, well, 4 if you count the conversation with Gabby, very well. Like, they split off and then they come back together very neatly.
Yeah, like if this was like a 22-minute episode, like we'd probably like spend a little too much time with each of the planters, and it might feel a little bit like dragged out. But an 11-minute episode, like the timing felt like
right.
Yeah, it felt right.
Yeah, I gotta say, a lot of things about Amphibia I like more in season 2 and season 3 when the plot really picks up, but the specific like 11-minute episode, 2 segments, really thrives in that sort of more episodic type thing.
Yeah, no, I really agree there. Like, it's just this. I think this is just a really. It's just another really good example of how Amphibia can make sure those 11 minutes are used correctly. Like, I know this is only like 11 minutes, but it still felt like a ton was like packed in, and I guess that's just due to good pacing or something. I'm not really sure how all this works myself, but like I really did feel like an air of quality that just came from this episode. Like everything just felt like it was on point. Like the voice acting, I guess like the composition of the shots, like the animation itself, the themes that played out in here. Like it, I think it was just a really great episode.
Oh, and we also got to see like when I first saw Hop Pop's Earth outfit or Earth disguise, like I always thought like the trench coat and fedora might like be a little too suspicious.
Yeah.
And in this segment, we saw like mall security like basically like flag him as a threat immediately.
Sitting next to a poster that's very similar to the outfit that Hop Pop's wearing too.
Like, does anyone know like the voice actor for that like mall security guard? Like, it sounds familiar. It just
I feel like I've heard his voice before, but I have no clue from where. And that.
We got a bunch of CODs. The code. I don't know why I found those code names to be funny. But yeah, we talked about Gabby. We talked about Hop Pop's. Oh, you're gonna say something, Uzbeks?
I will say that it's interesting. Hop Pop didn't really fail his challenge. Like, jumping into the fountain, like, that was dumb of him. But it wasn't, like, no one was tricking him into doing that, if that makes sense. Like, it wasn't, like, he was...
Yeah, technically, Hop Pop did fulfill his task, but he's like...
Yeah.
It was basically him, like, falling at the finish line.
He was just stupid in a different way.
I mean,
but I actually like that scene because, like, the way he says thousands of coppers, like that's unimaginable wealth for him in Amphibia. So
yeah,
I thought
exactly.
I do think it's interesting. They're going from like 15th century peasants to like modern suburbia, which is a very big difference in just like how you live. So I hope we see that explored some.
I really hope they like introduce Sprig to video games. That seems totally up his alley.
Oh, true. Yeah, he would like go ham on those. He would go ham on those.
Yeah, like Also, like, so Sprig and Polly got their like new outfits in this episode, and like
God
Polly.
damn it!
Hey,
I
hold
really,
on, hold it.
I thought they were getting. God dang! I thought this was gonna be like sort of like a shopping episode too. I guess they lost the bet in that way, Tom.
Yeah, we didn't really bet. We just decided we'd
Yeah.
both be wrong for wrong for the right reasons, or right
Yeah.
for the wrong reasons.
And I'm starting to think that when they do the cat episode, I don't think they're gonna go to the mall. I just don't think. I don't think it's gonna happen at this point.
But
Who
since
knows?
Yeah, from
Polly's
the
the
promo we
mall,
got, the
oh,
cat episode, they're going to be on public transportation, it looks like, which in LA is an adventure.
Right. Because in the promo we did see them on a bus.
I think it was a subway or
Subway bus. I'm not sure if LA has subways, but I know they have
LA
lots
has
of
very
buses.
crappy public transportation. It's infamous for that.
Mm.
Because car companies. Anyway.
Yeah. But like, I know for Polly, at least she's like a ball basically, so it was still kind of like recognizable. But like, seeing Sprig in his new outfit and the face mask, face mask, it really throws me off because like he pretty much looks like a different character now. It's just like the same like silhouette, I guess.
No, it's all that drip. It's all that drip film. That's what's messing you up. Like, I'm
Yeah.
I'm like still getting used to the idea that these are their newly established outfits. Like, this is what they're going to be wearing for quite literally, like, probably like the majority of season 3A. I'm guessing.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
expected it to be like a thing for like 1 or 2 episodes.
Yeah.
We did like really disguised, but this is normal
Yeah,
now, I guess.
Like, yeah, I was ready to
We
laugh at all the
saw-
fan art of Sprig in his drip outfit. Like, I was ready to laugh, like thinking that they made fan art for just one episode. But damn, I mean, I guess it's here to stay because I think we know it's at least coming in Adventures in Cats and 2, right? I mean that one's confirmed. I don't know about all the other ones, but yeah, that one we're gonna see it
Temple
again.
Frogs, like
Yeah, Temple Frogs. Yeah.
I think only Thai Feud had Sprig in his original outfit.
Yeah,
Thank
and I think we
God.
saw in one of the promos him with his goggles, like, but in a birthday hat, so probably in the birthday hat.
Yeah, so like these outfits are like I hope we don't see I hope we see Sprig's face sometimes. Like I miss his.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I miss his wide grin.
Yeah.
I miss his like Kermity
His-
thing when he'd open his mouth to scream and his whole face would like.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I miss like the sticks and branches in Ant's hair. Like I miss everything about season 1 and 2 on Ant. Like I still feel like they got rid of the outfit way too fast. I wish we got to see more of it.
I think it's kind of funny that they made the whole thing like, I'm finally happy with who I see in the mirror. I don't want to change outfits. And as soon as they got home, she's just like, okay, new outfit. And it was like 3 episodes later.
Great,
I mean,
she
she
can't
can
wear that.
still
She
look
can't wear
at
that
herself in
armor
the
piece
mirror.
everywhere.
It's understandable though. Like, I would not want to be wearing those ratty ass clothes anymore if I had the option to get new ones.
Yeah, I guess I don't blame her, but I feel like I just miss everything that was them saying in Amphibia. Like I miss it when Polly didn't have legs. Like we can't see. Like no one's gonna be carrying her around anymore. Right? Like she's just gonna be running with them now.
She was the legs when Sprig and Polly used as a trench coat.
Funny.
And like also like I felt so bad for Polly because Polly was trying so hard to do everything right, and then those those like little demons just like
Little brats
like,
just
they even have subtitles for like for that one kid.
Destroy.
And like you see like Polly like it's not really often that you see like Polly like on her knees like begging for mercy.
Children, man. Children.
Little kids are assholes.
yeah.
Ain't that the truth?
Like I'm looking for the quote like like Polly's like the madness has to stop. Like I just love like the delivery from Amanda Layton, is that her last name? Yeah, Amanda Layton. And we got CODs, we got MODs.
MIDs, right? I think it was
Oh,
like Moms in
MIDs.
Yeah, moms
Distress.
in distress. Yeah, moms in
Yeah,
distress.
MIDs.
Oh yeah, and Polly called like that kid a spawn.
Yes.
One of those cultural differences between Earth and Amphibia.
One of my favorite scenes in that scene with Polly and when the fight was happening, one of the babies broke the whole
Yeah,
bottle.
they broke
It
the
was a
bottle.
bar fight.
Okay.
He broke his own bottle and like used it as a weapon, like a little like a knife. Or I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, what
Yeah,
the hell
Polly
am I
was basically
watching?
in a bar fight.
It's like the Warriors. Come out and play.
So I think we covered Polly scenes, we covered Sprig's. Oh, levers! Sprig pulled the lever. No, he didn't pull a lever, but there were
On
levers
accident.
everywhere.
It's coincidental.
It was a
He-
missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Something else pulled the lever for him.
Oh yeah, that little like cotton thing pulled it for him.
Yeah.
I mean, does that still count as a lever pull? Can we still add that to the Sprig
Sprig
pulling
pulled the
levers list?
Yes. It
Yeah.
fits
I'd say yes.
All right, we're at 3. Let's make it 4 by the end of the
Let's
season.
go.
Sprig pulls the final lever to the final lever to defeat the knight.
No, it looks like they've saved Marcy, they've defeated Andreas. It looks like the night's done for. And they're like, all we need to do is not pull this lever. And like, we don't even have to have a big season finale fight. But Sprig, he just has to pull the lever.
Levers are meant for pulling.
That is
They
true.
are.
That is
They
true.
I hope they do a pull the lever Kronk reference.
Ooh, yes. And they own the rights to that. So, that is a Disney film.
I hope they do that, to be honest. Like this show has I feel like the show has the right to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're already making a Spider-Man reference, so I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Spider Sprig.
And Doc Ock, like seriously.
I
love
would. Yeah,
Sprig.
that is very suspicious that an episode there's a villain that's like basically Doc Ock in an episode called
Yeah.
Spider Sprig. I wonder if they're gonna get lawsuited.
I mean, to be fair, Disney does own the rights to Spider-Man.
Well, they own the right to Spider-Man. They own the rights to Spider-Man TV rights, not movie.
Yes,
movie
which-
rights is the only thing they don't have.
Yes, and what is Amphibia?
Exactly.
Tell you, yep.
And even like Disney could. Oh wait, I'm getting probably too far into Spider Spray. We still have this episode. But
Yeah,
Yeah,
so got hop till you drop.
yeah, on the other episode too, Turning Point.
Oh, who cares about
yeah,
Sasha?
we can
She's
skip
that
that. That's
popular.
fine. But I think I'm trying so hard. I'm trying to like squeeze every ounce of like info from Hop Till You Drop before we go into the next segment.
You don't want to deal with Sasha.
I really don't.
Come on.
Howard.
You know what? All right, we're gonna. I think that pretty much concludes Hop Till You Drop. Any final thoughts from anyone? Anything urgent?
Oh yeah. Does like chlorine turn frog skin green or something? Or is that just like random?
It
I don't
stains things a lot. I'm not sure
Yeah.
about frogs in particular.
Like, I know it's the chlorine, but I thought, like, my first thought was like, since it was copper, like the copper ions were like oxidizing on Hop Hop's skin.
Right.
But I think that's not the case. I think because usually that reaction happens around copper itself. But that was like my first thought when I saw Hop Hop turn green. But it's probably just the chlorine. Just
Hop Up is made of copper.
I mean, he
Yes.
already is like that similar color, but
Ooh, symbols.
I'm just saying, if Polly doesn't get brass knuckles in the upcoming episodes, I'm gonna get mad.
She doesn't have fingers, does she?
yeah, I think how she have
She's like
how
little
can she have like knuckles?
stubs. Like she has like little stubs that she has.
Brass knuckle singular.
Yeah, she probably has
Just
like a single like bend at the wrist, I guess.
brass stubbies.
All right, I think we're gonna go to Turning Point. So Turning Point is directed by Joe Johnson, written by Geneva Mai, and storyboards by Cassie Zwart and Inbal Breda. So the segment picks up it starts out a few days earlier, like right at the end of the events of True Colors. Like Sasha and Grime were holding off Andreas. They get tossed aside. Uh,
Not out
they
the window, on the side.
well right,
I was right.
and we get to relive
Everyone's
the
That
impalement
scene.
scene, and then planners get zapped away. Uh, Grime and Sasha are hiding like in the corner, kind of, until like a Frobo spots them, and then Grime basically chucks Sasha out the window, and he jumps off, and then like Joe Sparrow just like saves them, and then so then you see Andreas. So right before that, Andreas was like commenting on the box. Uh, Olivia and Yunan were about to walk off, but then they pledged their loyalty to them
Out of fear.
out of fear, of course. And
Let's
then
be fair.
yeah, and then he assigns them to like take Marcy to the rejuvenation chamber.
Which is, I feel bad for them to do that. I really do.
Yeah, and then so then Andreas sees like Sasha and Grime have like jumped out the window. Then like he sends a Frobot to follow them. It cuts back to Grime and Sasha, and they're basically tasked with. Okay, sorry, I think my audio is delaying.
It's coming from
I think it's
Uzbek.
coming from Uzbeks.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Is there something coming from mine? I don't.
Yeah, I hear
I think my
echo.
audio is like picking up on your side. Oh wait, now it's okay.
Alright, good.
So anyway, so Sasha and Grime basically have to like hide out from Andreas. They can't go to Grime's tower because that would be too obvious. So they decide to hide out in Wartwood. So they don't want to tell the townsfolk the events of True Colors. So Grime makes well, they tell a partial truth where Andreas is evil, but Anne and the planners went on some kind of mission, and Sasha and Grime are tasked with defending Wartwood. So Sasha's kind of surprised that the townsfolk like immediately trust them just by name dropping Anne. Sasha's feeling a little bit, I guess, guilty. So like even when they get to the planner home, like Sasha doesn't even want to walk in. Basically she sleeps in the barn for the night with Bessie and Michelangelo,
Our boys.
the best boy and girl or queen.
Yes.
So the next morning, like Grime brings in like these weird waffles, and then their next plan of attack is to meet up with Beatrix, who's hiding underground with whoever wasn't captured by Andreas's forces. And Sasha really doesn't want. Sasha's pretty much dragging her feet on like whatever
It's
rebellion
hurting her.
plans
Yeah.
that they have. So then they hear a noise. They think it's an attack, but it's just Mrs. Croker giving them a pie. We kind of get like some of the townsfolk just like popping in, like Wally just like tiptoes in to sing a song before Sasha like shoos him off. Like Maddie just like teleports in with like bread and like scares
Tons
Sasha
of
away.
bread. Tons of bread.
I mean, the carbs are a terrifying thing, but
Yeah.
so this is when Beatrix, Grime comes in with the message from Beatrix. They rethink. Sasha wants to rethink their strategy, and then eventually they hear a noise, and it turns out it's that Frobot that Andrea sent to follow them. They quickly take it down, but not before it signals out for more reinforcements. So Grime proposes that they just immediately leave, like they immediately ditch the town, but like Sasha doesn't want to abandon them, obviously, because she doesn't want, like, she's tired of, I guess, doing
Running.
the wrong thing, and she feels guilt, like all the guilt is like catching up to her.
Mm-hmm.
So then Grime just tells her what she's got to do, what she got to do, and then Sasha decides to go into the planter house, goes in the basement, basically Anne's old room, reads her journal. We get uh, an excerpt from Anne's journal that was right after the events of Battle of the Bands, where Anne's talking about how like they're all back together, and then tomorrow they're gonna go to Newtopia, and she's happy that she trusted Sasha, and that's what pushes Sasha to tears, and realizes like how bad of a friend she was, and she basically decides to turn over a new leaf and do what's right, basically. So she comes clean to the rest of the town at like the gate or the entrance of the town. Tells them that the robot army's on the way, but she swears to protect them all. And then at that very moment, we get that new Frobo, that giant Frobo model we saw in the new intro, shoots out a bunch of smaller Frobots.
Like ninja frogs or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah, like those quick sentries from from the big boss. And
Mm-hmm.
then Sasha's like pinned down. Uh, the big Frobot shoots out a missile. Then Grime like steps in and like hits it back with the Warhammer. So basically, they're about to start the fight, but then the rest of Wartwood comes and joins in, and then they're surprised by how like capable that these guys are compared to like Toad soldiers. So eventually, they all work together to repel the attack. And then the episode basically ends with the town having accepted Sasha, and Sasha and Grime plan on staying, and next their next step is to fight back, basically. And that's Turning Point. So a lot happened in Turning Point. You might say it was very fast paced, I think, from the True Colors follow up, the
Mm-hmm.
arrival to Wartwood, the Guilt, final battle. It was all very like it covered a lot, especially with the position that Sasha is in. And I guess while I try to collect my thoughts on this, I think Pixels. What were your thoughts on the segment?
It wasn't really. Yes, it was fast paced, but I also enjoyed the episode. It kind of it focused on Sasha and aftermath of True Colors and her perspective. That's another thing. We got to see Sasha's perspective of Marcy getting stabbed, and then I'm trying to
We got to see also a little bit more of Andreas.
right with get to hear more of Keith David. That voice. Yeah, but that diary when she read the diary and and Sasha crying is like that's guilt. That's guilt. She felt guilty about what she'd done about what we saw in her with her character, and she said she's gonna change to be a better friend. And the first steps of her doing that was protecting Wartwood, and I like that. It was good. I really liked the episode.
Yeah, it was fitting that Sasha's fresh start happened in the same place as Anne.
Her redemption.
Yeah, her redemption starts off where Anne started off as well, I guess.
It definitely had parallels to Toad Tax.
Didn't it? Wow.
Maybe not like their actual emotions on the topic, but the whole prove myself to a town by defending them thing.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that's something I'm going to be enjoying from Sasha and Wartwood, and just the idea that she's paralleling Anne's journey in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, Pickle, what were your thoughts on this segment?
I mean, I'm biased because it's a Sasha episode. I enjoyed it. I feel like it could have been better just because, I don't know, it seemed, there's some parts that hit. I'd say the scene in the basement hit pretty hard, but some of it just was average, and I mean, it's a very big moment in Sasha's character arc. I think it needed to be more than average. I also gotta say, a lot of firsts in this episode, at least for Sasha. Just this is not the first time she's felt guilt ever. I mean, we saw her in the Third Temple, but this is the first time she's actually acknowledged it. I think this is the first time she cried a little bit at the end of her reunion. This is the first time she's really cried. She said 2 tears. This is I don't know. I just feel seeing her in Wartwood, especially in a situation that parallels some very early episodes in the show. It's at the end of Reunion, she was like, "You're gonna risk your lives for these talking frogs," and now she's the one risking her life for the talking frogs. So it's wow, character development. Some of the dialogue was pretty cheesy though. Oh, Anne. I don't know. Anna kind of did them well, but you have to admit it's pretty cheesy.
Yeah, her turning over a new leaf was maybe it's because we're so used to Sasha being really
Bossy.
how would you say it?
A bitch.
Aggressive.
Commanding.
What did Hop call her? Aggro?
Yeah, aggro, I guess.
Aggro.
Yeah. I just
Nick, what were your thoughts on the segment?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure what to fully say, but I think on my first watch, I think I was a little disappointed with the episode. I think honestly, but it's when I took that second chance to really just review the episode for what it just really tried to be, and and I ended up liking it a lot more. I think I'm closer to saying that it was like last night. Last night I was just saying it's a good episode, but now I feel like I can sort of confidently say it was a great episode because I feel like I sort of have the same opinion that Pickle has. I think everything else in the episode was just really solid to me. It's just except for the journal scene, I guess, where I just felt like the dialogue there really could have it really could have just. I just hate to say it could have just been better, but I guess less cheesy, I guess, because I don't know. It was just a really awkward moment. I feel because I think Amphibia's dialogue is just really solid. They always just use the right amount they need, but here I just felt like Sasha was just talking too much. She was saying more than she really needed to give off in that scene. I think we they really could have easily portrayed this. Or they could have portrayed her entire emotion on that scene by just letting us see her cry. But I mean, that's just enough about me complaining about the episode. I felt like everything else was just really great. Just Sasha's guilt preventing her from even wanting to step foot into the Planter family's home. Love that. The end where Sasha's theme plays. Fucking love that. I've been waiting months to see that since they originally released Sasha's full theme. Like, just getting that a moment was just so rewarding, just because I feel like even so, it's like she betrayed her trust so many times. Like, not even just Ant, but like us. Like, I still like. Even so, obviously, yeah, they're all going to be developed and just better people up at the end. But like, still though, like there were a lot of times where she just crushes our hope in her. But yeah, I'm just happy all around that they did that. They still got like I don't know. They still did a good job of her in the end here.
Yeah, like in terms of like the Sasha's theme, like we've heard like variants of it, and even Heartstompers is basically like I don't know what came first, Heartstomper or Sasha's theme, but like what we hear now feels like a very more uh like actualized version of the theme, or like more, I guess, actualized in terms of like Sasha's like character. And I like that. I like we heard, I guess, the more traditional like melody instead of like an electric guitar.
Yeah, they just played up the whole thing right here. And, man, it was just it's just rewarding, because I just spent so long just waiting for her to have that turning point to really just start to show that she could change. I mean, because we obviously know it's going to happen, but like, damn, like there's always something that just gets in the way, that just stops her from doing what she needs to do. And I feel like,
That's
go
part
ahead.
of why she was able to grow so much this episode. Is some of the stuff that triggered her sort of hostile responses, like Anne standing up to her, or the planters reminding her of how it weren't present. Like the extent of her history in this episode was like trying to take the frogs captive at Toad Tower, but she didn't have personal relationships with any of them. I mean, part of the reason the Bessie scene worked was that she's never even met Bessie. And so that helped at least sell me on Sasha not running into some of the same roadblocks that she has in the past towards redemption.
Yeah, and I think like the lack of Grimes' presence, so I think that really did help here because he, for like the longest time, even so he's meant, well, I feel like he's also just been sort of like a hurdle for Sasha's development because he always just sort of gave off a quick, easy response to her to make her feel better instead of just having Sasha confront, whatever feeling she had deep inside her. So I just really did. I feel like it's a moment of growth for Grime when he just, for once, decided not to tell her what to think, what to feel, but just to give her space and just let her figure things out for herself. I'm really glad we got that scene.
Like, when he tells her to go inside, he's clearly just like, get over it, work through it, why aren't you the way you used to? But then when he comes at the end, I think that establishes that he has his goals and he has everything. But he values Sasha, even if he's not the best influence on her. That's him projecting his own issues into the situation, not some attempt to corrupt Sasha. He values Sasha. He wants her to grow.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
what were
Sasha
your
and
thoughts
Grimes'
on?
relationship is always so weird because he's very obviously a toxic. She's a very obviously a toxic influence on him. They're enabling each other, but they still, you can tell they aren't just using each other. They do genuinely care for each other.
They're almost codependent.
They're codependent and they're trying to improve each other, but their idea of what improvement is so deeply flawed.
I guess Uzbeks, what were your thoughts on this segment?
I really like I said, I liked it more on rewatch. I agree with some of the pacing. I think it maybe could have done with a couple more mentions of Marcy from Sasha. But I think Sasha is sort of, like at the very beginning, she has some adrenaline, but then she's just in shock for most of it. I mean, she still has her temper. She's still like, go away, you country bumpkins. But it's very clearly her like lashing out to avoid the guilt. I think it's very interesting that she when she's saying, I'll defend this town with my last breath, that continues something we saw in Reunion, where when Sasha feels guilty, she starts making... Suicidal is too strong a word to use. But
yeah, I guess
she needs to disregard her own safety, if that makes sense. Like, she becomes self-sacrificing to the point where some of that is coming from a place of, like, self-loathing rather than, like, helping.
I mean, she'll go the limits just to protect those people. From what I saw from the episode, like, she'll take risks, and she know that there'll be consequences with those risks.
Yes.
And I guess it was also her way to make up to her aunt, just for failing her back in True Colors.
Yes. And I think, we saw in Third Temple and a bit early on in Reunion in the flashback that Sasha has a very strong protective streak that is tied up in her need to control. But, protecting a town like Wartwood, that fits with sort of what she does once, or like at least her best qualities. It plays into that.
And I think it was really, really fitting that, like, Wartwood, that Sasha was able to see that, like, what she was protecting wasn't, like, helpless. Like, we saw, like, the townsfolk immediately, like, jump into action. So she's not, like, fighting for them. Like, she's more so fighting alongside them.
They did like that moment because, like, I just love the fact they changed the dramatic music to, like, this sort of, like, country vibe or something with them just murdering the Frobots. Like, that was just really funny.
Yeah, I think it really starts with, like, Wally's just, like, walking in, like, smacking people, like, smacking the bots with his, like, accordion.
Yeah.
I was surprised
I
was surprised when, like, Toadstool flattened the Frobot with, like, one punch. Like, holy shit. Has he always been that strong? Like, just one punch.
Tend to be pretty strong.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I just didn't expect from Toadstool of all people, though. Like, we're talking about that slouch.
He's lazy, not like.
Like, him and Hop Hop seem to be, like, on equal footing.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just, like, a testament to, like, Hop Hop's strength, because he was able to, like, punch down Frobots, too.
This episode demonstrated that as far as the power levels of the Frobots are however powerful the plot needs them to be.
Yeah.
Which
I'd be willing to bet that the big, we saw in the intro the big robot fighting Anne. I'm willing to bet it's going to be like, oh man, it's almost the same robot, but it has upgrades and now it's like a final boss instead of just like this one little hurdle.
Yes. So, which, like, yeah, that's a nitpick, but that's something you see in pretty much every piece of media at some point.
And
I found it a little interesting. They were quick to trust both Graham and Sasha, which I can get sort of Sasha, like she did the thing. She's friends with Anne. Toad's, I don't know, felt a little quick to trust Grime when he's like the Toad Lord who ruled over the valley, etc., etc.
Yeah, like, Grime's a warlord, but have you seen him? Wartwood is probably one of the few, like, people that have seen him play the harp.
That is true.
Yeah.
I think, like, I know. I noticed a lot. Like, a lot of people were surprised that Warwood was pretty forgiving of both of them. But I think, for me, I find it pretty in character for them because I think at this point, as we've seen them go from having Anne in the town to Marcy in the town, I think at this point they've gotten pretty used to some random outsider bringing trouble to them, and they've seen the good that can come from accepting them into the town and just giving them a chance, right? So I think at this point there's been this sort of subtle growth for them because at the start they just shunned the hell out of Anne, right? They didn't even want to give her any attention. They just wanted to treat her like trash. But I guess then we transition over to Marcy. We're like, yeah, they still are shunning her, but I feel like they were much more forgiving towards Marcy than they were to Anne when she first got here. So that's just sort of the vibe
at that point that they're going to be way too overly paranoid about her, so they're just like, yeah, we're probably gonna shun you. Just we'll come around to you eventually.
So we got the. I think it's just interesting how a lot of Sasha's episodes, like all the episodes we've ever gotten from her, it's always her like looking, like plotting the next step, with the exception of the dinner and Battle of the Bands, which were very important for like her relationship on like the group dynamic with Anne and Marcy. So like finally seeing, I mean it's still the case here, but instead of like, I guess I'm trying to like figure out the words for Sasha's influence in the group dynamic, where she has this, oh man, how do I say this? It's like every
Commanding.
episode, yeah, she's always like her relationship with like Anne and Marcy is like always on her mind, whether it was Toadcatcher, Barrel's Warhammer, Third Temple, and then it's like now we get to a point where it's still bugging her, but instead of being in denial, she's like finally,
Realizing
yeah, she's finally reached the point where like
I'm a
where
shitty
she's like
friend.
yeah, she's now like confronting it head on. And then
And that journal helped. That journal was the first step.
yeah, the journal helped, and it was just
I
that
think Anne yelling at her in Flu Colors was the first step. Well, I mean, even going back to Reunion, there was some of that. But, like,
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe Reunion was
I mean,
kind
she
of
clearly
the
had her doubts about abandoning Wartwood and everything before she read the diary.
it just seems that like because Sasha had like the strongest influence on Anne and Marcy, that now that we're addressing Sasha, it kind of feels fitting that like Sasha exerted like a certain amount of control over Anne and Marcy, and then a lot of Anne and Marcy's character uh had to involve like addressing Sasha's influence. And then with Sasha, we don't really have that same uh Anne doesn't have that same influence on Sasha until recently, until we got to Amphibia. So now that like we haven't really gotten a bunch of episodes where Sasha like slowly becomes this like new individual. It's more so like a course correction, like a sudden left turn, and we're like she's back on the right track.
Which
I,
I actually think fits. She's the type of person who throws herself into things. A lot. Like, she threw herself into training, she threw herself into the plan with Barrow's Warhammer. And so, what happened here is she threw herself into trying to redeem herself.
Yeah,
it just feels like it feels like Sasha's like issues were like the most straightforward, like, and a lot more like, I think the hardest part for Sasha was basically just like actually acknowledging it and not being in denial. And then like once like she finally like once like the consequences of her actions like finally caught up with her, it's like now she like can easily like move forward. While with like Anne and Marcy, like we're going to see them dealing with I guess I don't want to say a lot more. I just their issues seem a lot more like they're not as straightforward. Especially with like Anne like carrying on this like burden of like saving the world, and then Marcy has like this.
Yeah, Marcy has. Yeah, she has everything going on for right now.
Marcy. Oh
yeah,
boy.
no, I really do get what you guys mean, because I feel like this was always sort of maybe hinted at in a way even in the Dinner of the Battle of the Bands, because it really did present Sasha as a normal teenage girl who just needs, just time to recognize her faults and improve for them. But it usually is always the same thing, right? Like she doesn't have a quiet, calm environment to like really confront those issues, and she doesn't really have the time for that too. But it really is a turning point that just gives her that chance now. That's why I feel like I wasn't thrown off by the fact that she's now ready to make this change, because she's always needed that correct environment for her to start taking those steps forward.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of, at least since reunion, it always feels like she's like one step away from getting it. And I know she's just wrong place, wrong time, or just not willing to. And now finally, she has the right environment, she has the right mindset to actually change herself, and that's good.
Yeah, I'm just really happy they're getting that sort of follow, because I always felt like I remember like I always just thought to myself, if only she had like one more week in Wartwood before True Colors, like she could have there could have been really there something for her before she screwed up colossally over there. Like that's just something like I felt like that I'm glad the show's portraying her. I mean, even underneath all that, underneath all this portrayal of her being this ruthless warrior, she's still a 13-year-old girl who just needs that chance to recognize that maybe there are some things that she needs to change about herself if she wants to keep her friends around and just, I guess, feel good about herself at all.
I guess this is a little bit unrelated, but like, actually, not just a little bit. It's like very unrelated, but I kind of finally noticed that Barrel's Warhammer actually looks like Barrel. Like, I mean, wait, did everyone else already know that? Was that just me?
Wait, what? Wait, no, wait, what are you saying?
Like, Barrel's Warhammer looks like Barrel himself.
Does
It does?
Wait,
Yeah.
it does?
Like the two,
Let me look
like the two booster rockets at the back, like they look like his ears or the top of his head,
The horns?
like the
I'm
horns.
gonna
Yeah.
pull up an image of him. I do not
I need
remember
the
what
hammer.
he looks
I need
like.
a hammer. I need the hammer right now. I need to make sure that you're not just making things up right now, though. Let's see this.
Let me send another shot. Like,
But it looks like Barrel. Let me
like
see that.
the back looks like his horns, and then the front, like the face of the hammer, like has his eyes, I guess.
I still believe either way. Like,
guess.
Barrel's the one who
I don't
made
really
the hammer.
see it.
I mean, like either way, I feel like even if we don't like completely agree with you, I still feel like it's Barrel who made that hammer. Fingers crossed, it's for the pink frog though. I'm still holding on to that idea, but I see.
I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, I see what you mean there, though. I can really see that here.
The idea of like Beryl being the smart one and making the hammer for the pink frog is pretty cool to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my current thought. But then something happened with Andreas, and he wound up being the one who had to use it, despite
That could explain why he died, because like he couldn't, like he wasn't as much of a warrior as Pink, even though he made the hammer.
and like he was just trying his best.
I'm sure someone will use Beryl dying to save a town as evidence for Sasha dying.
It's, I mean, knowing how it works, probably. I expect it. Knowing how it works with this
Not
stuff.
only does Sasha lose both her eyes, she also dies.
Though.
I mean, I think we covered most of this episode already.
Yeah, we did.
We could do jokes.
Wait,
They had some jokes in there.
I
Yeah.
did like. Yes, it was a little on the nose, but like Wally talking about the lessons he's learned from Anne, or Miss Croker like, oh, you two are good eggs. Like that was on the nose, but pretty fun. Oh, what was the joke? It was something like, "Holy Nelly" or something. And
Nelly.
then,
that
Oh
was
yeah,
hilarious.
like
Like that kid, like they said, "Oh Nelly," and then there's an actual
Nelly.
frog named Nelly.
yeah.
And then
This is like, shut up, Nelly.
shut up. Oh, Loggle being obsessed with ripping eyes out, and Croker's like, too much.
You're enjoying this so much. Yeah. No. I know. My favorite part was the fact that I love the fact that even though Grime can be this considerate and loving guy, he's still a giant douche. The fact that he can't remember Joe Sparrow's name,
George.
and like
George.
yeah, and no, as soon as he gets he comes into the house of the man he betrayed, and he shouts, "I call Hoppadiah's bed!" Then he crashes right into it, destroying the whole goddamn thing. That was so funny to me.
What about the old lady who brought us pie? And then he's like, "Oh, the crust was soggy."
Like, he's just
douche.
I like how he's just so jovial, and at the same time, he's totally ready to just let a bunch of frogs die and just.
Yeah, I love that. I love that they keep. I love the fact that it's like it's still Grime. Like, sure, yeah, he may grow subtly, but he's still Grime in the end. He's still a giant douche who can't even bother to remember people's names. Like he did it to Marcy, right? Right, like when he tried to calm down the crowd, he was like, "I want to say Marsha." Like he can't even bother to remember these people's names, and that it's just. He's just I feel like he's just one of those really fun characters that you don't need to be deep, right? Like you can just enjoy Grime for who he is, without thinking even deeper.
Yeah. Of course I liked Sasha just being like, I'm gonna go in the corner with the rest of the trash.
Yeah, they
And
did
just her
such a
being,
good.
yeah, very down.
Yeah, keep going. Yeah,
It felt very different because usually she's like, I'm the best, I'm the coolest, everyone should listen to me. And now she's just like so depressed.
they really did a good job of portraying her guilt, though. Like just
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
I just really like that moment where she just can't even step foot into their house because she just knows that she's really burnt this family. She really screwed them over. Like literally like a day ago, right? Like yeah, this episode takes place like a day after, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there you could see a couple days in the middle if
Yeah.
you want to stretch out the timeline. But yeah, it's immediate.
Oh yeah, I also liked Sasha making very sure that everyone knew that her hair was naturally blonde.
Right.
Yeah, that opens up some questions because it's like, nah, I'm not gonna drag us into it. Do you guys want to do that? You want to do
I
a
mean,
player
unless they
discussion?
have blonde hair dye in Amphibia, it would have grown out by now. So.
I mean, I think that was just Sasha being insecure. I don't think it's.
Yeah, it was like, like I don't have like any deep points. I'm just like, oh, well, what could we really blah 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 blah. I don't even know. But I don't know. It was just this episode really did have a lot of fun moments.
But I also like when Wally like talks about like the lessons he's learned with Anne. Like I'm glad we actually got to see those lessons in the past, like Swamp Insensibility and like I guess Wally and Anne to a smaller extent. Like even like these minor jokes, like they still like they have like history, like there's still a history to them.
It's true, Anne did teach him about honesty and friendship. Or did you teach him about honesty? I don't actually remember that.
I think Wally and Ann, right? Yeah, well, Wally and Ann, right? And then honestly, I'm not sure about Swamp and Sensibility because
like
it's like if Wally's honest,
more like
family's gonna throw him out. Yeah, that one's like don't try and force honesty where you shouldn't, right? There's something like that because like
it's still a
she
lesson about honesty.
exposed them, like
Necessarily.
she exposed Wally and embarrassed him in front of his entire family.
Whoops.
Yeah, basically that was Anne just whoops.
Like that was being true to yourself, I guess.
Yeah, in a way, I guess. I think maybe I guess it's Wally and Ann. I feel like that's the one we can all just agree on. Like at least that one. That one's straightforward. Yeah, be like just be honest to yourself. You know what you went through. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what kind of like puzzled me was that like Grime was talking about how like he got a letter from Beatrix saying that like they're all hiding underground, but then we actually see the letter and it's just like, little bro, we have weapons, soldiers, and fortification, and that's it.
Oh my god.
I just love how like straight to the point that letter was, and it's like
I wonder if Beatrix will actually like join their army.
I'm really hoping we get more Beatrix scenes because we saw
Yeah.
Ferocia, right? She made so much Beatrix fan art. Like I really want her to be a big part of this season now. Like she really got me hyped up for it.
Yeah. Although it'd be more likely if there wasn't much Beatrix in the show for her to be making it because she likes Beatrix and Beatrix
True.
is present,
Oh, that's true. That's true.
unfortunately.
oh, I like that scene where like Grimes is like feeding that bat strawberries. It was cute.
Yo, where did he even get that? Like he just
That was
picked
the
it up
best part,
somewhere.
I think.
Stealing from the planters.
Of course he would. Like I just God, like
Aw,
even
man,
so he's
Grimes,
being a
like-
douche. I just laugh at it. Like he's literally just going around using all their stuff, even so he screwed them over a day ago.
He really does not care.
And that's just what makes him great, though. I just love the fact that he can have like. It's weird. It's because he doesn't have character development that makes him a better person. I guess it just makes him more. I guess it makes him know how to handle Sasha, like how to. I guess it makes him a better friend to Sasha. But like I feel like overall, like has Grime improved as a person? Does he really give the time and respect to other people that they deserve?
Well, he's a
Not
lot more
really.
competent.
Yeah, he's a lot more like he's grown, but it's like as a better person. Like I'm like I don't really know because I mean he's still kind of a douche, but I still love him for that.
Yeah. He's just one of the characters you know is just a bad person, and that's fine. It's still enjoyable.
Like I think like Grime really. I think other than his time with Sasha, like he hasn't really changed too much, but like he's still on the right side, whether it was like by
Yeah,
convenience or
He's
it just
like
works
him for
somehow.
now,
Like
I
it's his
guess.
grind. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I was cutting you off there.
He's just Sasha's hype man for now.
so we covered. Like I'm wondering. I'm guessing these Frobots have like a really like. I guess they have a high like range, like communication range. If that Frobot was just easily able to like summon reinforcements, like
Yeah.
unless
I mean,
we don't know how like technologically advanced are, but advanced Utopia was. But like I guess if they have robots, they have.
Amphibia isn't that big, though.
Yeah, it is the size of like Australia, right?
Yeah, about to say. I think Matt said that. Like,
Yeah.
it's about as big as Australia.
They just flew back to Wartwood. The scale of Amphibia has ceased to matter. In terms
Yeah,
of
like yeah, Joe Sparrow really kind of no offense to the bird, like no offense to Joe Sparrow, but like he kind of shrunk this world a lot with fast travel.
Oh yeah.
yes.
I think they could have made it a little easier, like saying in between whenever they go, just saying like, "Man, a day's worth of flying sure is tough" or something, and that would fix it instead of making it feel like they just hop in the air and it's fine.
Yeah, I also really like that it's a very quick shot, but like right when you see Sasha and Grime land into Wartwood, you can see the castle in the background.
Oh yeah. It's
It's
just
it's
looming in
very
the
brief, but
background.
like I hope we get more instances of that in like Amphibia, where like if we just like look out into the distance, like you can just see Newtopia Castle, just like its presence is like ever looming.
No,
Approaches.
I think we definitely will because right now Amphibia is just an extremely dangerous world to be in. Like Andrews, his plans are moving forward, right? Like I think it would just be a really good idea to always keep his palace. I mean, I feel like either way, it's gonna be like that, right? Because I mean, Newtopia's at the heart of Amphibia, right? So I'm thinking that It's just going to be this looming dark presence always in the sky. Like when you look up, you'll see it no matter what. It's just a constant reminder of the danger that everyone's in right now.
And that kind of like, since we can see Newtopia, like that ruined my theory that like the mountains would protect them from Andreas. But like, if they can see Newtopia, then Newtopia could probably see them.
Oh, oh yeah. Like you remember Andreas watching them like skate? What did he even say again? So many so many loose ends,
so many
so
loose
little
ends, so
time.
little time. Oh man, that was such like a
Yeah, it's like it's
know
math.
what they're doing.
Yeah, it's like
That
are
does
they speaking
bring up
to
some
us?
questions though. Like, does he have a time? Is there like some kind of day of prophecy, whatever? Or is it just like, I don't know, feel like it has some ominous.
Yeah, like there's because he really is trying to move forward with something here. I mean, it does seem like he's in a hurry because he almost immediately sent a robot after Anne, like right after she escaped. Like he didn't wait too long.
Yeah, I think
He was
did
rushing
mention that-
almost.
Yeah, did he mention that like he would have to like proceed whether or not Anne was like still off the table?
Yeah, well, he was like, all right, I still have the box. Staunch, he escaped, and like that's why he's sending. And in New Normal, he said, "There's only one who can stop me, Anne Doomshoy." So he like clearly Sasha is irritating him by escaping, but like he doesn't view the rebellion as an actual threat to his plans.
Honestly,
In
I
the
don't blame
case
him. It's
that-
like one shot of that laser cannon though, like destroys an entire tower. Like I don't blame him honestly for not even caring.
Yeah.
In the case that Sasha does end up with powers similar to Anne's, or Marcy and Sasha get their own set of glowing green and pink powers, I kind of wonder how Andreas would react to that.
Probably
Like-
freak out.
He'd
Like
probably be like, "Are you kidding me?"
yeah, she'd be frothing at the mouth and just passes out. Like it's just I can't wait. Like I need a moment where like the grin just gets smacked off his face. Like I really need a moment like that.
Well, let me get that in two colors, literally.
Yeah, I hope the other girls have like final forms. Like, I know from the prophecy, like that thing that Andrews had in his tapestry, it was like just Anne with the glowing blue hair.
Yeah.
I believe it.
I want it to be true. Just, I really want to get to see that sort of thing.
I mean, dang. Because I have seen like a lot of people make good points for like why we couldn't, but I still firmly believe that they're coming. It's sort of like a nice, like I feel like the super forms are sort of like a nice little thing to complement their growth, right? Like it's like a nice little present for when they've really come into their own. So I still think Sasha and Marcy could get up their own.
Yeah,
Just
I
gotta
think-
wait, I guess.
I kind of feel like it'll be a one-time thing, though. But who knows?
Maybe it's like the very finale, they both get theirs, and then immediately after,
Maybe.
whatever power it is sealed in the box. Never again.
No! At least one
wrong,
episode of them. At least one episode of them, please. Like, at least one episode before the finale.
You think we'll get like a training montage?
Yeah, training
I'd
montage
like
of ants.
Ian training Sasha and Marcy in Calamity Combat would be kind
There's
of
the question. I mean, Anne called the powers bad and stuff. Clearly, there's going to be some arc of her figuring out either how to use her powers or like how to control whatever power it is. I don't know if they have the time to do that for Sasha and Marcy as well, and it would feel weird to just have Anne have such a struggle with her powers and Sasha and Marcy be like, "Whoa, this is so cool." The end. You know?
Yeah, that's like it's
true.
just like I guess we just gotta see what Amphibia does, right? Like so many loose like what did Andrew say again? What was the thumb? So many loose ends.
So little time.
So little time. We'll just see.
Something
We'll
tells
just
me
see.
they'll keep quoting that the more and more as
I
the
feel like-
finale
yeah.
approaches.
Yeah. As the closer we get, we're gonna keep hearing that line again. Christ, like I feel like it really is Matt just like messing with us. Like it is generally not just messing with us with that line.
When does he not?
He's been doing this in season 1. That little monster.
It just like sometimes the show it feels like it's running towards this resolution, and then it just ends up there's payoff, but then there ends up setting up the show ends up setting up even more. Like even in season 2, we had this journey to Newtopia that we ended up getting to Newtopia like 6 episodes in, and then we had a temple quest that lasted like less than half a season. And then like we found out at the time that like that was all like leading up to our time on Earth. And then now in this case we have like Sasha, she's like I guess on the right page. Like she's on the same page as like everyone else now, or same page as Anne. And then now it's a question of like how long like is Marcy gonna be in her state before she's on the same page to like face the big bad? Like oh man.
Do you guys have predictions for when she's gonna get out of that night?
I'm thinking.
I know. I was gonna say night vision, but that seems a bit too
Night
cheesy.
vision.
I'm thinking early season 3B. Early season 3B. I'm betting early season 3B.
I'm gonna say mid season 3B.
I was gonna say either season 3A finale is when she's gonna get break 3, or season 3A finale is when she's gonna get like her full debut as the Knight, depending on how fast they decide to pace this stuff.
I think it's gonna be in I think Una and Olivia is gonna be where we see Night Marcy.
And then, but like, I get what you're saying about like a proper introduction, not just like a stinger at the end of the episode to freak us out, but like an introduction to like what does Possessed Mercy do? What is the personality like? How does it function? I think that might be the half season finale.
I'm also waiting for who's the voice of the night is.
We shall see.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was a funny theory back then.
I mean, did we talk about? Oh, actually, yeah. I think last week we talked about how like Whoopi Goldberg could be voicing the Pink Frog. Because I mean, having a scene with like Keith David and Whoopi Goldberg talking to each other, like that's just gonna be like
God,
gravy for my ears.
I'm gonna. That would be
And it's also interesting.
gorgeous
Like
scene.
we got the rest of those episode titles, and like I'm guessing we're going to get an Andrews episode in 3B because we really haven't. Like
We're still gonna see him, but we're not gonna really get episode focus.
Oh yeah, we're seeing Andrews a lot more this season that we have in even all of season 2, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I'm interested to what we'll see him the rest of 3A. We'll definitely see him in Olivia and Una. But I'm wondering if we'll get cutaways in any other episodes.
That's what I think they might do that. They might do that.
Yeah, I'm guessing we'll get at least a few like ominous end scenes.
Yeah. Probably for Mr. X, yeah, maybe. I was thinking for Mr. X, that would be the introduction to the FBI.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Feels a little late.
You think Mr. X is gonna be the
RuPaul?
I mean, we have Type Food though. We have Type Food. Like they could just get like a little stinger in there.
That too.
Type Food might be, since we're seeing like those robotic dragonflies in the promo. Like I think if any villain shows up, it'll probably be Andreas, because we'll need to see like why Andreas decided to send like more troops in.
I think Mr. X may be like the climax of the Agent arcs. Like that's when the planners get captured and Anne has to team up with the blue scientists. You know, like that's after a few scenes where we just get like a couple of shots of them, or like.
That's a good theory. That's a good guess.
Mr. X is like the episode where we're like properly introduced to them.
I mean,
I'm trying to
go ahead.
I'm trying to think of if you give a frog a cookie. I'm trying to think about what that could be like, because I have like no clue. It could be like a holiday theme up. I'm not. I don't know if it's gonna be
Froggy Little
holiday
Christmas
themed.
is-
I don't think they would give a. I don't think
Yeah,
they would give a holiday themed
Yeah.
episode right before a holiday themed episode.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's the book's about? Like when you give someone something and then they just keep coming back for more.
Asking for more and more and more and more and more.
I think we have to wait for the synopsis. I think the
Yep.
synopsis should be coming out soon since we got the November.
Couple
Since we got the
weeks.
title, I was given a couple weeks or so.
I hope we get something a little bit more like grand than for the season 3B titles. Something a bit more grand than just like it shows up on the schedule, the cable schedule thing.
I mean,
Yeah,
he
I'd
did
rather-
that last mid-season hiatus. He did like the little direct thing on like Christmas.
Yeah, that was a fun That was a fun thing.
Yeah, he dropped every single one of them. Jesus. Imagine if he does that again. Holy shit.
That was quite the day. That was the
Yeah,
day
that
everyone saw
was-
true colors and like lost their
Yeah.
shit.
And finding out the temples were the one season thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a
Yeah, that was surprising too, yeah.
Mhm.
that's when you knew something was up, that we're finishing the temple quest at the end of the season. Then it's like, okay, if the box is recharged by the end of season 2, like something's going down. Like, and like, I really want that direct to happen again, but
Yeah, it's like
you could argue
Probably-
for 2B that was like a little bit closer to the beginning of the year, but I think it's already kind of confirmed that when next year it's going to start off with Big City Greens and I think Molly McGee, or was it Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur?
I think they said Moon Girl and Moon Girl and Big City Greens, I think. I think it
Yeah.
was those two.
Okay,
Oh
so
wait, is that the full title? Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur? I thought it was just Moon Girl for the longest
no,
time.
it's they're like a duo, like in the comics.
Yeah, like I was thinking to myself, like, what is Devil Dinosaurs? Is that another show I didn't hear about? Like, I didn't realize it. Yeah.
But
I
like,
remember. I mean, they were very nice in giving us Amphibia season 3 so soon after season 2 ended. I hope they don't end up like, okay, you got a little hiatus there, so now we're gonna set you and put you at the back burner and wait until we finish all these other shows because you've ran for a while.
Oh man.
and then
Yeah, I think we're in for a fairly long mid-season hiatus.
and like, it'd be weird. I was thinking that if Froggy Little Christmas is our mid-season finale, then unless Disney wants it to be like a standalone episode, like I would hope that it would be like it would feature some elements of like the actual like plot of the show, just
Yeah.
so like we could like, because we're running out of time.
Yeah.
Nice to,
We
like,
I don't
are.
know. Squeezing like a whole mid-season finale and like a Christmas special and like a fun and like a Rebecca Sugar song all into one thing seems like it might be a bit complete. I mean, they've done more in one episode,
Mhm.
but I don't know.
And it'd be cool to say like to finally, because there's very few times where I can say like the holiday special is like essential for viewing show X or movie Y.
Yeah.
And then we have Hollywood Hop Hop, where Hop Hop's I guess he'll be that'll
Acting.
explain like the golf cart scene in the trailer where like he was just like casually like strolling
Right.
through before
'Cause
getting
he's-
shot at.
Yeah, like
He
a
stole
nice
a
nightly
golf
stroll.
cart.
A nice nightly stroll before someone just shot at him. Poor guy.
I'm gonna
But-
predict right now it's gonna be like he actually ends up making it slightly big, but then it draws too much attention or something.
Or that could just be special effects and
Yeah, that could be something.
It is Hollywood, so
Is he gonna go into them and be like, check out what a good frog person impression I can do?
Yeah.
and Sprig's birthday being the second segment concerns me.
Yeah, we already saw a scene that looks to be him and Anne in a hot air balloon, of all things, in the most recent promo.
Yeah, and the shirt says I think birthday boy.
Oh, it does?
Or it said something
Oh.
like
That's very
He had
cute.
a birthday hat on.
Okay, yeah, he did. Yeah. Mhm. Okay, I guess maybe it is Sprig's birthday. Huh.
Well, I would assume so.
So
I
Sprig's
don't know.
birthday, Mr. X, Spider Sprig. That's gonna be we already
Pretty obvious.
Olivia and Yunnan, Hollywood Hop Hop. If you give a frog cookie, yeah. So we pretty much
Covered everything.
covered the November episodes.
Yeah.
We're probably gonna talk about it again since when we get the synopsis, and we could probably make comparisons to when we get more promos because we got
Yeah, we'll have better.
more promos soon.
We'll have more data.
No, I really.
Can't wait for us to be wrong again.
I mean, yeah, as is tradition. I mean, I'm expecting like most of what I'm guessing for these to go wrong. But on a side note, I am liking the layout for season 3A a lot. Like it really is giving each of the individual planters their own time to breathe and just have Earth challenge them and possibly improve them. Right? I feel like it really is committing to the idea of a status quo reversal. Right? Like now they're each having their own individual stories along Earth. I like the fact that Sprig is taking on most of them. No, let's fucking go. Ty Fugue, Sprig's birthday, Spider Sprig. That's all fucking great. I love that.
Yeah, it
And
feels like
feud next week is Sprig centric, I think.
Actually, yeah, just two Sprig segments, and we're eating good next week.
I actually don't remember what's next week's episodes.
It's
feud with his Sprig sabotaging the competing food truck.
Oh,
And
Ty
it's
Fugue, okay.
adventures in cat sitting. Which is
Okay,
like, I think the planters collectively are the focus of that episode.
Yeah, that's gonna be the first time that the planners are like
On their
interacting
own.
without Anne.
Yeah.
That's gonna be interesting.
just man.
Right now, they've covered the basic. Planters are super excited in a new world, and planters are super incompetent in a new world. So now they're gonna have to come up with new variations of those.
But still no Hop Hop Holly-centric episode.
We'll get it.
Nah, we'll never get it. We won't.
No!
That's the one thing we're never getting. But it's just. And this season really does have a weird energy. Like they weren't kidding. Like it's just each episode just has this weird feeling to it. I feel like just especially the Earth episodes. Like I'm just. Well, we've only had we really only had 2 segments of them being on Earth, but like I'm still like getting used to it. It just feels so odd.
I think we're in a stretch going forward where we don't have this Sasha in it. We'll see if we can start to get used to it as it sort of establishes a vibe.
Yeah, it just feels like so much has changed. Like even the gags, they can tell. Like how many like now we're leading more into like I guess your average Earth comedy or something, right? Like the whole mom joke, like the whole Karen joke. Like you would have never seen that back in Amphibia. Like I feel like now we're just getting a new set of gags we have to get used to. Like there's no more
comedy that we did. Like,
and seeing people and like recognizing them is so weird. Like and having a friend come up to her.
Yeah, like an acquaintance just coming out of nowhere and just it's like because back then in Amphibia, right? It was like we were looking through Anne's perspective, right? And I guess that is part of the role reversal here. Now it's like no, it's like the way to say it because we all live in Earth right now, but I guess we're viewing Earth through the lens of the planters because like we know nothing about Anne's Earth life, right? Like we don't know that much. We had no idea she had any. I mean, we all know, obviously, like, right? She's not just going to be her 2 friends aren't just going to be Marcy and Sasha. Like obviously, she at least had some acquaintances out of that circle, but like it's still so weird. Now it really is a role reversal now. Like I'm still getting used to it. We've only had 2 segments, but like. Dang, I'm just gonna. It's just an odd combination. Like these are supposed to be cool down episodes from True Colors, but at the same time, we're in a completely new environment that gives you this weird feeling. Like, how do those 2 come together? Like, you're supposed to get a nice, comfy feel while we're also in the weirdest setting of the show. And I guess comparison to everything we've had before. I mean, obviously, yeah, it's Earth, but you guys get what I mean.
Yeah, it feels like maybe every episode we're going to have like a case where like we're getting used to this new segment, and then we have like a very big reference to what's happening. We have a big reference to Amphibia. Like in New Normal, we had like that brief scene with Andreas. In this episode, we had Andreas again. But then
We'll see. We'll see next week.
maybe we'll
'Cause
see
that's
next
already-
week whether or not like it'll be completely like Earth focused, or if we're gonna get like some kind of like brief reminder that like Amphibia still has like stuff going on.
Yeah.
But
We'll
maybe
see. 'Cause next week's our first sort of normal. like-
next week might break the trend.
Yeah, we'll see. Well,
I think we can wrap things up.
yeah.
I guess starting Pixels had to go, but still thank him. Thank you, Pixels, for coming on. Pickle, any final thoughts you want to share?
I mean, it was really fun. We're still very early in the season, so I'm definitely interested to see how these play out. And I'm also interested to see how, I mean, we've got these two things established, and we know Matt himself has said this is Amphibia, it's a show about Amphibia, so I'm interested to see how they start to bring the Earth world and the Amphibia world closer together as the season progresses.
All right, thank you, Pickle. Uzbeks, any final thoughts?
These were a really solid pair of episodes. Some things that could have been improved, especially in Turning Point, but just really good. They're setting up Sasha well for whenever we head back to Amphibia. And I'm looking forward to how sort of the status quo on Earth evolves and is established.
All right, thank you, Uzbeks. And yeah, like I'm curious when once the planners settle down, when we'll focus back on the quest of getting back home, because we haven't really seen that just yet, but it'll happen eventually. Nick, any final thoughts?
Really good episodes. I'm just looking forward to like what happens next for the rest of the season, because I mean, I can tell they know what they're doing here. So I'm just going to be sitting down, just being ready to enjoy the next episodes we have here. I think it's season 3A. I feel like it's setting up something that it's planning on resolving within season 3A, but also something that they're going to have taken care of in season 3B. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing how all this plays out. So I'm just excited for the next batch of episodes we're getting.
All right, thank you, Nick. And with that pretty much concludes this week's recording. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week for Thai Feud and Adventures in Cat Sitting. Say goodbye, everyone.
See ya.
Goodbye.
Bye.
See ya.